say goodbye to the Hyundai Santa Fe Sport. For 2019, it becomes the Santa Fe, a two-row crossover that will continue to compete with the likes of the Nissan Rogue, Ford Edge and Toyota RAV4, three-row versions coming afterwards, which will go up against the Honda Pilot and Ford Explorer. Will get an XL or some other, yet undisclosed name tacked onto the nameplate depending on the nature of the configuration. As such, it will have big shoes to fill in this increasingly competitive segment. The timing appears right for the crossover be brought into its own, and Hyundai has done its better to make sure it plucks its heavings against its competitors. With the updated name comes an updated examine. In the body, it's a Hansavoot that seems more SUV than cute, beefed up and boxy, and less overtly elegant than so many swoopy crossover profiles we see today. Its big-hearted, chiseled appearance gives a Lexus-like gravitas without looking too complicated or polarizing. Check out the slight pinch where the cascading grille satisfies the front bumper. The rising beltline appears modern, while the mostly horizontal roof and virtually vertical rear end experience anciently familiar. Maybe a utility vehicle can sate our thirst for wagons after all. Inside, the new Santa Fe has an air of quality to it, perhaps not in strict terms of materials, but in thoughtfulness. Hyundai does good happenings with inexpensive substances, and in general the interior is well to be laid down. Specifically, the center console and its switchgear experience utilitarian and planned. We desired the smooth, close-fisted experience of the leather wheel in our hand and the crispness of the digital presentation center to the instrument cluster. The seats are cozy, supportive without seeming cushy, and it was easy to find a natural seating situate with little change. Visibility is good, despite what you might feel from looking at that high beltline to areas outside. There's a fixed piece of glass ahead of the side windows to improve spade cables at the bottom of the A-pillar. Checking the blind spot, the larger rear one-quarter window behind the second largest row of sitting aid with visibility. It was simply after spending a couple of hours in the cabin that we noticed that there's a lot going on here. The headliner in our tester had examined somewhere between chambray and denim, but seemed soft to the contact. The pinnacle of the flare was a softish dark plastic, a polyurethane leatherette, to be more specific. Below that, patterned metal trimming encircling the front inmates. There was some harder dark plastic. Then the speakers on the doors were jet black plastic structured into a type of motion motif on its own. Each of these materials is attractive, but take a step back and consider it all at once, and the new Santa Fe's approach is all a bit much. Construct sure you like the style your materials and patterns look together before you sign on the dotted path. The 2.0-liter diesel mill in our Korean domestic tester felt like a really solid little engine, but it won't be part of the engine lineup we get in the country. We'll be offered a dual of gasoline engines, a 2.4-liter inline four good for 185 horsepower and 178 pound-feet of torque, and a 2.0-liter turbo 4 rendering 235 horsepower and 260 pounds-feet. Come 2019, we'll get a 2.2-liter turbodiesel attaining 190 horsepower and an impressive 322 pound-feet of torque. Despite offering different engines to the US market, all cells will get a new 8-speed automatic transmission routing power to 2 or 4 rotates. In our diesel tester, that dissemination did its position by standing out of the style. Shifts happen in the background. Frankly, we basically forgot about it as we tooled around near the river perimeter with North Koreans. We'll be interested if the 2 additional gears offer any improvement to the already solid American engine provides, especially the turbocharged gas mill. On Korea's smooth roads, the Santa Fe seemed perfectly comfortable. We didn't notice much racket or crusade, even on the downhill segments laden with Korea's version of acceleration remembers that seemed like a hybrid of low-toned acceleration bumps and rumble strips. It was quiet going down the road, but we'll substitute a final judgment on racket until we can examine at the higher cruising velocities allowed on US freeway. The navigation and entertainment system's touch presentation was crystal clear and quick to respond to inputs. We didn't find ourselves getting lost the menus or on South Korea's routes, thanks to the push buttons encircling the screen. The voice instructions were easy to follow, and the head-up presentation helped you count down the pause well. meters in Korea, until your next switch. Interestingly enough, it let us know where all the traffic cameras were, a feature we'd hoped to see in the US. The Santa Fe's suite of driver assist organizations, especially the adaptive sail restraint, working for you. It follows at a comfortable interval, and showed us on the HUD the car in front of us relative to our interval fix, which really took the guesswork out of specifying the crack lane keep facilitated nudge us toward the center of our lane, and would tell us no if we were crossing over without a signal. You can become the rear camera on for a idea behind you while you're driving, which isn't always practical, but we're glad to have it available. We merely left the sidewalk for a brief diversion to visit an ancient fortress overlooking the Atlantic provinces. The cratered dirt direction took us up a steep mountain to Idea overlooking the beach, as well as a number of military outposts and, in the distance, North Koreans. On the style backup, it was a bumpy journey, but the car succeeded just fine. Wouldn't want to take it off-roading, but we think it'd fare just fine on Michigan's disintegrating springtime roads. We didn't tackle many exciting areas, and emphatically not at high speeds. Apparently, that's just something you don't do in Korea. It's not something one truly does in a crossover in general, but median Korean street accelerates are considerably lower than ours. Still, we found the Santa Fe to comfortably oversee narrow curves with oncoming traffic in the opposite lane with confidence. Even without the help of the lane minder, the Santa Fe's real exam will be how it handles the rougher roads and higher accelerates of America. Our time with the new Santa Fe was brief, and it wasn't a U.S.spec model, so we didn't get to dive deeply into some of the features American purchasers will enjoy. A couple of things we thought were interesting, though, are either new peculiarities, or a new takeover ones we've seen before, and ones we're provoked to experience in real-world usage. The first is the Safe Exit Assist system, which will be offered in the US as well. This facet thwarts the inmates from opening the door if the Santa Fe detects another vehicle approaching from the back. This keeps the driver or passenger from getting a doorway ripped off or, worse, stepping in front of a delivery truck. The second facet is a rear occupant alert, which is something we've seen pop up in a number of vehicles of late. In the Santa Fe, though, its utilization's an ultrasonic sensor in the headline are to see flow in the back seats. If it feels a kid or pet left with it, the car will honk the coronet, flash its lightings and even send the driver an alert on their smartphone if are attached to Hyundai's Blue Link buzzines. From our initial testing, the 2019 Hyundai Santa Fe stands to be a obliging competitor when it arrives the summer months. We're looking forward to investing more occasion with it so we can formulate rulings about the versions we could actually put in our own garage. Dropping sport from the badging, Hyundai is demonstrating the Santa Fe room to stand tall on its own virtues as a core is part of the lineup, judging by our first preface with the 2019 representation. With its stylish new look, tone interior and smooth new dissemination, it's worthy of the position.